A couple of years ago, Eddie Hearn did an interview with none other than Kugan Cassius regarding some different matchups that he wanted to talk about. But somewhere in between that, Eddie Hearn mentions a story where he runs across a couple of youths at a train station of some sort. And they asked him the question, hey, are you a millionaire? And of course, Eddie Hearn says, well, yeah, I am. Why do you ask? And the reason why that was significant is because Eddie Hearn mentioned something to the effect where these kids doubted that he was a millionaire because of the fact that he didn't have the latest iPhone with him. Now, that goes to show you just how superficial people are. And you're probably wondering, why am I talking about an Eddie Hearn story in a mixed martial arts video? And in particular, what has that got to do with Khamzat and his fight coming up with Kamaru Usman? Well, ask Khamzat himself, because today is UFC 294 Media Day in Abu Dhabi, and Khamzat Chimaev mentioned something to the effect where I am an iPhone Pro and Kamaru Usman is an iPhone 5. And to Kamaru Usman's response, he mentioned something very clever to the effect where iPhone 5s work just fine. They can take pictures in the same amount of quality as the pros. And then you got to take a look at the aspects of society and the superficiality of all things, right? Because think about this. An iPhone is basically the same thing in every update and in every version that they have. Sure, a slight differences of some things, maybe data that can carry one more than the other, or maybe perhaps just a little bit of the qualities of the pictures that you can take. Yes, this is absolutely true in that. But I gotta tell you, we've already done the kicks and punches when it comes to the Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat fight, the Islam fight versus Volkanovski, and all the other fights that are in the card, including one of my favorite fights in that card, Tim Elliott versus Muhammad Mokaev. Now, one of the beautiful things I love about being able to have a mixed martial arts page and being able to talk about it is that I can use it as a vehicle to not only talk about mixed martial arts, but use it as a metaphor to try to understand the sociological aspects of life. Now, why is that important? Because fighting is a whole lot more than just the actual sport in and of itself. There's a world outside of fighting and outside of competition that really isn't really talked about as much as it should. And I figured I would use this as that particular vehicle or that type of metaphor to try to give you some insights on the world and the state of how people are today. So you got to understand, people are superficial, people are fickle, people are disloyal, especially in today's day and age. So you can't expect anything less when it comes to these aspects of people's perception of, once again, thinking Eddie Hearn's not a millionaire because he doesn't have the latest iPhone. When in reality, there's just some people out there that just don't care for the materialisms that the consumer world offers you. You take a look at Black Friday, which, by the way, is coming up in November. We're in the middle of October right now. Next month, guess what's going to happen after Thanksgiving? There's going to be people that are going to trample all over each other, all because they just want to have a couple of dollars off on a TV or whatever products they have to offer. It's a sad thing. And then you got people out there killing each other for Michael Jordan shoes. You got people out there waiting in line when the new Jordans come out, or all these things. It's quite honestly ridiculous. Look, I'm not one of these people that's against people trying to look good or people trying to have the best quality of products. That's not what I'm about. I will say, though, there is one particular comment that stood out to me in one of the Sean Strickland videos that I had to just mention. One guy mentions on the comments something to the effect where, you know what, you're a Muslim guy and you're out there rocking a polo shirt, okay? In other words, he's trying to call me materialistic because I want to look decent or I want to look somewhat okay, right? It's not about superficiality or anything like that. In fact, even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was asked, hey, is it wrong to have nice clothes? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said something to the effect where, you know what, this is not haram. Allah loves beauty. And obviously I'm paraphrasing, I'm not giving you the exact word for word verbatim of what it is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, but something to that effect. It is all about the person's character. As I was finishing off that particular comment that the Prophet Muhammad made in regards to beautiful clothes and having beautiful things. But that's the unfortunate reality that we have in the world today. People are superficial and they just can't understand anything beyond the scope of having the latest iPhones, having the latest Jordans, having the latest Apollo season gear and whatnot. They don't care about anything else other than that, and it goes into fight game as well. Which, by the way, is a perfect metaphor for what is going on with this fight with Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev. It's important to try to understand that just because Kamaru Usman has taken a loss from Leon Edwards, has been knocked out, has had a lot of injuries, including knee problems, to which he can't even go run, so he has to find alternative methods to build up his cardio. And taken to the effect that he just lost his last fight when he did rematch for the world title against Kamaru Usman in their trilogy fight. Because obviously, Kamaru Usman is 1-2 versus Leon Edwards. So, just because of those numbers alone, people are going to have a superficial outlook on how they see this match. Don't get me wrong. I still think, and you looked at my prediction video for this fight, you look at it in the live portion of this video, by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheap little plug there, but nonetheless, people don't want to look at the fact that he gave a good account of himself in his fight with Leon Edwards. They want to forget that. Now, I still think Kamaru Usman is going to lose this fight, but once again, this is the theater of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. And there are a lot of factors, even though that I believe Khamzat is going to win, there's a lot of factors that you could lean this towards Usman's side. For example, yes, he's older. Yes, he's damaged. Yes, he's the older version of an iPhone Pro as opposed to an iPhone 5. But guess what? Just like the cell phone, it still works if you have an iPhone 5. And if it works, it can do things. And when it can do things, it will always have a fighting chance no matter what you do. Don't forget to like and subscribe.